Hi everyone, this is Shannon from the irishscrapper.blogspot.com, and today's project is this card using the basic black, real red, and whisper white with a little bit of gold embossing. And to create this project I used Stampin' Up's one of their celebration stamp sets called Botanicals for You. So let's go ahead and get started and I can show you how I created this card. For our card base, I took a piece of basic black at the standard size, so 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I've already scored that, and this is ready to go. Let me just get my bone folder here. I have another piece of real red, and this one, actually I didn't write these down. This one, let me give you the size. Okay, so the piece of real red is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Let me just make sure I have that right for you. Yes. And then I also have a piece of whisper white, and that is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So that'll be our top piece. So we can go ahead and actually adhere the red to the basic black, since we're not going to be doing anything to that. Let me get some fast fuse. And hopefully I can get this straight for you. That looks pretty good. Okay, and then I think we'll go ahead and do our embossings onto the whisper white. So let me get my scratch piece of paper here. I just have a old piece of paper, and we're going to go ahead and stamp the Just For You, and this is actually on block E, and we're going to go ahead and use our Versamark and ink that up. Just make sure we have that inked really well. Now before I stamp that, I'm going to use my embossing buddy, which is just a little bag, like little powder bag, to remove static so that our embossing powder goes right where we want it. Okay, so let me just line this up for you. Okay. Perfect, and let me clean my stamp. Okay, and then while I have the Versamark out, I'm going to also go ahead and stamp our flower. So our flower came from Stampin' Up's Petite Petals, and I used this one at the top left corner. We're going to go ahead and stamp that with the Versamark as well, just on a piece of scratch whisper white, because we're going to emboss that with the gold also. I'll just go ahead and stamp that down, clean my stamp. Okay, so I have put my gold embossing powder into a little container here. It just makes it a little bit easier to use. And I'm going to go ahead and, I got it all over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some over my image, which is still wet from that Versamark. For embossing, you need to use the Versamark because it'll stay wet longer and will stick to the image. Let me put some on there. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me get this off of our big image. I'll do my best to get that right back in the bowl. I have a little extra mark there, so I'm just going to take my finger and clear that off. Okay, and then I'm going to take this sheet of paper and put my powder right back in my bowl. Okay, we can close this up and save it for the next time. Oh, I just touched it on the edge. Okay, so now with our embossing powder, I'm going to go ahead and take my heat gun and turn that on and give it a minute to warm up. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my flour first. Not sure how well you'll be able to see this on camera, but as it embossed, it turns a shiny gold. And then I think that looks good. So I hope you can see this. Otherwise, you'll definitely see it when I take pictures at the end. So our next step was, before adhering this down, I had a little bit of basic black baker's twine. And I probably have about 22 inches or so here. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that around the left-hand side of our card. And I'm going to do put it around twice. And then I'm just going to tie a bow here at the top. Grab my scissors. Okay, and I think I'm just going to pull that over a little bit. If you haven't noticed by now, I am left-handed, so I tend to put my arms in the wrong places for most. Okay, so we can go ahead and get this adhered. I'm going to use some of our Fast Fuse. Oh, it just ran out. Okay, let me grab another adhesive. And we'll refill that later. Okay, and we can get that put down to our card. Okay, and then I also took a piece of vellum, just your regular vellum, and I used some of our black Stays-On ink to stamp the sentiment "Because You're Awesome," which is in that same set, the Botanicals for You. And I did it in advance because it takes a little bit to dry. And then I just put the piece of vellum right through our triple banner punch to flag the edges. So we're going to go ahead and adhere that to the front of our card. And I'm going to actually use some vellum adhesive. So you have to be careful with what adhesive you use with vellum because it will show through. Let me just pull this to the side here. Okay. And then we're just going to adhere that right to the bottom of our card. I can probably could have moved that over a little bit, but that's okay. That looks all right. And then I'm going to punch out our gold embossed flower as well. And I'm just using the Petite Petals punch, which coordinates with that stamp set. Just line this up. Okay, there we go. And we're actually going to use that on the center of our card on the inside. So let me go ahead and get the Whisper White. Okay, so I have a piece of our Whisper White, which is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And we're going to go ahead and adhere that to the interior of our card. I'll just get some adhesive on that. Make sure I have that straight for you. Okay, and I am going to use the sentiment on the inside that says "On Your Special Day," And you can go ahead and use the same StazOn ink that you had previously that I used on the vellum, or you can use the archival black, whatever you have handy. We'll go ahead and use this one. Okay, and I'm trying to get that in the center. There we go. Let me close that up. And then our last step is just to adhere our gold flower, and I'm just going to put that in the lower right corner just to give it a little bling, brighten it up a bit. And there is our card for today. So I really like how these came out. I was kind of struggling when I was trying to come up with an idea. I really wanted to use the gold. So this is what I came up with, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do have any questions, please let me know. And please visit my blog to see the full products that I've used in this project. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.